welcome back. I guess Adam really did haul boogie, huh?
But he had to. He had to return it. He had to return his car rental by a certain time, or they were going to charge him for a whole nother day. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that hustle, getting your car rental in right before a deadline where it doubles in price.
Do you think he's going to park farther away next time?
I'm a lazy parker. Which is funny because that's Leo with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. I will literally park in the first available parking spot, no matter how far I have to walk, because I don't want to drive around a parking lot. I'm lazy.
So you park further away, or?
I park further away because I'm lazy.
Because you don't want to dig for a spot.
Right. I don't want to spend 20 minutes looking for that perfect spot, and I don't mind walking, so I'm lazy when it comes to parking.
Yeah, I used to park close. Now that I got my car, I'm like, eh.
You know, I used to park close until I turned 65. Now I try to park as far away because I can find my car easier.
And you get some exercise.
You know, I just put big, huge, honking, bright green magnets on the side of my car. That's how I find it most of the time.
Well, I know that, literally, I went to the bank probably 2 weeks ago, and I was going to park.
Wait, banks are actually open?
Yeah, I know. I was parking here. It was just a couple spots in. It wasn't crazy busy, but this kid comes, gets in the van, and goes, bam, bam, like twice on my door. And I'm like, what the heck? So I just pull away, go park in another spot. And the lady, starts yelling at me. You almost hit me. I go, no, I didn't. I saw you. And by the way, your kid slammed my door twice.
I'm surprised there's not more accidents in parking lots. And it's a shame that Adam Talley from Talley Insurance isn't here to give us some statistics about cars getting hurt in parking lots.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of experience with that this morning here.
Yes, he does.
So,
he does.
Well, let's roll to our guest, which I know is one of your favorites.
Yes, let's go.
And we are super sad that he is not actually here with us this morning.
Yeah, apparently the mayor is more important than us.
We want to welcome back Mr. Roger German with the Florida Aquarium, and he's here to talk about the new events with marine life at the Florida Aquarium. How you doing, Roger?
Good morning. I am doing great, and I do miss being in studio with you all, so I promise the next time we're there, I will come in. I will park very close to the studio and bring you some coffee. How's that?
Oh, you're a gem. We would love that. We miss seeing you, and we've been trying to surprise Leo with your visit because he just loves the sea turtles.
I want to talk about sea turtles. I want to talk about corals. I want to talk about the Gibsonton place. I want to talk about
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't know if I'm going to get to talk to you this hour, Roger, because I know Leo is going to be so excited.
We love it. Well, what we need to do is we need to do a live broadcast from down here so you can actually experience it and not just talk about it, right?
You know what? I agree with that. What a big event do you have coming up? We can do that. We'll totally go do a remote broadcast.
Yeah, no, look, there's always something happening here at the Florida Aquarium, and I think as you all know, and the last time we were together, we were the first aquarium to reopen in North America. We've been doing it great, safe, sound. Our guests have been enjoying their time here at the aquarium, and so there are things that we are getting ready to be prepared for the upcoming holidays. We did a little smaller, we call Guppyween Light this last year in the Halloween segment a few weeks ago, and now as we look to kind of the Christmas holidays and the New Year, most of us remember us for snow days where we would bring snow in and really have some fun. We're going to do some alterations for that, so we've got some great holiday programming coming up during the Thanksgiving week, but also really more towards that end of the year, just to celebrate, bring some normalcy.
We need it this year, Roger.
Details, but
we need some little bit of normal this year.
We do. I would agree. Well, and that's why we wanted to reopen as fast as we could, just because we want to provide that opportunity for normalcy, but safe normalcy here at the Florida Aquarium.
Yeah, let me ask that obvious question that probably 50% of the population is thinking. What does the reopening procedures look like? Is it limited capacity, or what are you guys doing?
Yeah, so we're trying to be extremely responsible. So there is limited capacity, and some of it is, based on some regulations, and others is really what we want, what we feel comfortable with, because we want every guest to come to the Florida Aquarium. They want to be safe. Now, one of the things that there's a lot of talk about is, the indoor facility, but ours actually is so large, and the airflow that moves through, even the Tampa General Hospital and USLF health experts have said, a very, safe place to go and visit. And so, we're probably about 50% capacity of what we have. But part of that, again, is our control. Part of that is, certain limitations. But everyone who has come through, 92% of our customer service scores say, great time, felt very safe. And that's what we're trying to do right now. All of us as businesses have to navigate the pandemic, for a long time. It's not a short term. So come on down to the Florida Aquarium. When we do all of our programming, you're going to feel safe, fun, but just immerse yourself, get away, see the sea turtles, see the coral.
So let me
talk about
Let me ask you this. So 92% approval rating, 8% said not enough penguin.
Really?
That's exactly right. It had nothing to do with anything else other than, when you get your penguins more on display. So
Actually, I kind of really like the penguins.
Yeah,
They're pretty cool.
You don't know the half of it. They let them roam around the cubicles in the back.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not making that up. They just let them loose in the back area.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Not enough penguins.
The penguins have a behind-the-scenes area where they have their they haven't made it to my office yet enough. I've been trying to work on that one. Like, hey, even the president and CEO doesn't get to play with them as much as I engage with them as much as I like. So
now, are they super domesticated?
Come on down and hang out.
Do they come up to you? Are they super domesticated or?
Yeah. Look, it's part of their enrichment program, right? So a lot of the animals that we have here, are used to their caregivers, and they're used to the public. One of the things we saw, side note going back, was when we were closed to the public for those temporary closings. Some of the animals had some different reactions. All still positive, but like, hey, there's no people here, right? So everybody's, our animals are used to being the great ambassadors for our mission and being able to tell that story of what's happening in the wild and why we should care about them and reduce plastics and, try to, eliminate the, carbon greenhouse gases and things like that.
Roger, tell me about that real quick. I just want to know how some of the animals were affected when you guys were closed.
Yeah, the good news is animal care being a top priority. And, look, our animal care experts were in every day. We have the top-notch veterinarians across the country, who work for us. So they didn't miss a beat. Honestly, I don't think any of them, other than, for a fleeting moment, we're like, hey, there's less people, or maybe I don't see as many, cell phones taking pictures of me today.
Their favorite ones were there, so I guess they were okay.
Well. Yeah, absolutely. It's as much as we like to put some of the human qualities. I mean, there are some basic instincts. So as I said today, did I get a walk today? Did I hang out with my buddies today? That all happened. So,
Speaking of cleaning the ocean, can you tell me a little bit about the art exhibit you guys have throughout the aquarium right now?
Yeah, so that runs through, it's called Wash the Shore, runs through the end of February. So we got it extended, and thanks to the Vinnick Family Foundation for underwriting that and underwriting the extension. So what's really cool is, one of the things we want to talk about, especially here in Florida, is ocean plastics. Because when we do our sea turtle rescue programs, oftentimes we are rescuing a sea turtle from some kind of plastic issue. So Wash the Shore was curated. It's an internationally recognized art exhibit that brings together ocean plastic, so real ocean plastic, into just beautiful art pieces. And, it tells a great story. And come on down, to see it. We do have one piece that's outside, but we've got several of these amazing award-winning. I think it will go to the Smithsonian after we are done with it. That tells you the caliber
That's
of
cool.
Wash the Shore.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, your sea turtles, let's talk more about them, because I know that's Leo's favorite animal.
Yeah, we're not going to have enough time before the first break. We should save sea
All right,
turtles.
what do you want? You want to save sea turtles? Okay.
We got to save sea turtles. I mean, you got to figure, like, sea turtles and coral. The coral outreach that the aquarium does is phenomenal, and then that's going to be a lengthy segment to learn about that as well.
When's the last time you were at the aquarium?
A week ago.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny. Did you get married before you moved to Tampa?
Yeah, no.
Because I've been to weddings at the aquarium. I could totally see you getting married
We
there.
actually looked at the aquarium as a wedding venue, but we decided against it at the time.
Where did you get married?
Like a ranch in the middle of Dover.
Oh, never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Ever. All right, Roger. I know when we come back, Leo wants to talk about sea turtles.
And coral.
I'm surprised he didn't save sea turtles for like segment number 3.
And coral.
But anyway, we're disappointed that you're not here, but we are glad you are with us by phone. So stick around. We're going to talk a little bit more with Roger German from the Florida Aquarium. We're going to talk about some of the cool events they have coming up, how much it costs to get into the aquarium, some of the different species, and some crazy marine life they have there. Back in a moment. Stick around.
Well, good morning. This is Leo Kane with Beryl Engineering and Inspection with Katrina from Tampa Home Talk. We've got Roger from the Florida Aquarium, and we are back for exciting segment number 2.
Jump in, Leo. I know you want to.
So, there's just so many questions. I did talk about before the break, we're going to talk a little bit about the coral. Can you talk a little bit about, because we have this whole facility, like there is the aquarium itself, and we all love the aquarium in the channel side. There's this whole other facility not too many people know about, and that's down in Gibsonton. So talk a little bit about that, Roger.
Yeah, so we really are one of the world's preeminent coral science, research, and restoration organizations. And to your point, I think people recognize us for some coral but don't realize the extent of it. And so, yes, we have the channel side location where folks can come and explore and see coral up close and, all of the other 9,000 animals that are here. But yes, we've got a 22-acre conservation campus that is down in the Apollo Beach area. We have a partnership with TICO and Florida Fish and Wildlife down there. And so if you know where the Manatee Viewing Center is, we are just south of there. And currently it's not open to the public, but our hope was to open this fall, but the pandemic kind of threw that. So we're hoping for next year. But I bring that up because, yes, we have some amazing sea turtle and coral, which we're going to talk about here, facilities down there that are doing literally bleeding edge, world first coral science and research programs that are there with the ultimate goal of saving the Florida Reef Tract, which is, down in the Fort Lauderdale to the Dry Tortugas, as well as sharing all of that research and information around the world to save coral reefs. So, yeah, we're doing amazing things here at the Florida Aquarium when it comes to coral restoration and science.
So how competitive are you with, let's say, the Georgia Aquarium when it comes to coral? Because I know they also brag about a great coral restoration program, but I heard most of their coral is actually just confiscated by people trying to smuggle it in.
Yeah, how much coral can really be in Georgia?
Well, so the interesting piece here is that you can have coral in smaller settings, but they're controlled settings, and you'd be amazed at how you can grow coral with the ultimate opportunity to put them back in the wild for restoration. So they have millions and millions of babies, and you can get settling. And so, believe it or not, you can use a smaller footprint than most people think compared to the ocean. But yeah, no, it's here's the thing. We are very collegial. We all share the same goal, right? We share the same goal to save wildlife. And in this particular case, we work with all of our colleagues. Matter of fact, there are there's about 42 zoos and aquariums across the country that are now holding coral from the Florida Reef Tract. And that's really important because in some cases they're just being arcs and hanging on to them, and organizations like ours are really doing the research and science. And in some other cases, they're doing some of the research and science, again, to grow coral, to put coral back into the wild and restore the Florida Reef Tract. So there's a national effort to save the Florida Reef Tract. Florida Aquarium happens to be one of the few that's on the front line, as well as coordinating with our friends in Georgia and others about how we want to do that.
What about your secret island? I heard you guys have a secret island in the bay. What are you doing there?
No, believe it or not, we're doing nothing there right now. So you're definitely plugged into the Florida Aquarium. So many years ago, we have a great partnership with the Port of Tampa Bay. And so many years ago, we were able to do a little development on what's called Fantasy Island. It's one of kind of the spoil islands that's out there. And we used to be able to do some education programming out there. Two things have happened. One is we've upgraded our boat about 10 years ago, so it made it a little harder to get the boat there. And two is because there's so much wildlife that has come back in the Bay area. A lot of times we're designating that for migratory birds or other things. So we are talking with the port about how to re-engage that, get that back in. But for the most part, it was being used for educational groups that we were working with and not necessarily open to the public. So future plans, might be able to get
Somebody's
that
headphones too loud on the counter.
It's a wonderful nursery again for migratory birds. There's oyster shells and bringing back oysters, and it's really cool. But yes, a very little known secret unless you're a boater and happen to pop on and not realize it's Fantasy Island.
I know it's going back a little bit, but one of the questions I had is, how do you guys, how do you help reproduce coral? I don't know how that works. How do you save it? How do you Sorry?
A lot of berry white we play because we want coral to spawn. So no, look, that's a great question, and it's saving coral reefs is complicated.
Yeah, that's the way I'm asking the question.
Yeah, but you keep your, I believe, and we all believe here, right? There's no problems, only solutions. So there's a couple different ways to look at it. So one is you have to save places like the Florida Coral Reef Tract. One of the things you've got to do is we've got to work with, government organizations and others, to try to mitigate the effects that are there, right? Everything from, water quality and water quantity and temperature and things like that. So that's a bigger issue. Now, colleagues, restoration happens in two different ways. One is you can take coral. You typically, even though it's an animal, but it works with a plant, you can break it and then replant it, and it grows. And so that's one way a lot of restoration has been happening, and it needs to continue to happen. What we focus on here at the Florida Aquarium is actually the genetic diversity of coral. And so we're focused on spawning coral, or reproducing coral. So we get the boys and the girls, and they do their thing, and and they have babies, and it's hard to settle, but we're settling them. They start growing, and then we put them back out in the wild. And why that's a little different is, as you can imagine, just like in humans, if there's a disease that's out there, or if there are conditions, water's a little bit warmer and do whatever, by genetically growing coral, we think they can adapt more to the changing conditions and will have a longer survival rate. So all of us are getting together to figure out what to do. I still like to say that we've explored more of outer space than we have of the underwater, and we're learning. Zoos have been around for a very long time terrestrially, so they know more about elephants and lions and tigers. We are learning about coral here in real time.
So how long does it take to grow coral to the point where you could re-release it into the wild?
So great question. And actually, that's one of the studies that we are doing, and it depends really on the species. So some species grow very fast, like elkhorn coral, and staghorn coral. It's one of the reasons we focused on those. So you can get to about a year, and they're hardy enough to get out there. Pillar coral, a little bit slower, and so we're looking at a year, 18 months, 24 months along those lines, and that's the new science that we're trying to look at. Obviously, you don't want to put coral back into a reef that is having a lot of problems, or there's some diseases that are out there, so you need to make sure it's disease-free. But every species is different from the settling, but that is the cool piece of science is we now have the ability to grow the coral in our facilities here at Florida Aquarium. We're able to put them out into the wild, monitor them to see what we can do. Because the faster, I think to your point, the faster you can get coral out there, the more chance it has for survival. If you have to wait 2-3 years before it survives, right, that's going to slow down that recovery process. So we're learning in real time, and science is really cool and exciting. People get frustrated because it may change over time, but it's because we're learning all along the way.
Roger, I'm thinking about just even basic plants, right? Like if you were to take a piece off of a plant and try to replant it, sometimes it just doesn't do well. So how often is it that you actually kind of get this coral to re-sprout or re-germinate, and then essentially you transplant it back into the Gulf and it doesn't do well? Does that happen, and how often?
Yeah, no, it happens. I don't know if I have a qualifier for often, and that's when I referred to earlier. So techniques for last several decades has been you go to a coral reef, you break off a piece of coral, you replant it like on a tile, then you eventually put it back in. So it's the same genetics, it's the same coral. Now, when the conditions weren't as bad in the ocean, I think that worked, right? But some of the conditions that are out there and some of the problems coral is experiencing is because of things like some diseases that are running through or water temperature being a little higher. So that doesn't quite work as well. It does work, but the long term, and we're studying that. Like I said, for us, we're working on the genetics. And so having a coral spawn, and be born in essence, and grow up here has, we believe has a greater survival because the genetics are different. They're more resilient. And so we plant those out. Now, that being said, we're hanging on to several corals that we can't put out in the wild because, to your point, we don't believe the conditions are right. And if you put them out there, they're not going to last very long. And we're looking for success in survival rate, not just to, put animals out there. So it's a very, very complicated but coordinated effort between the federal government, the state government, and a lot of organizations like ours.
I love that you're saving that because, coral is amazing. Like if you've ever snorkeled or if you dive and you see it, it's incredible. Just the different colors and the different types.
Biodiversity for the different species that live in the coral in the coastal seas.
It has a huge environment on our our sea life environment for all of our little sea friends in the Gulf. So, all right, we'll talk about your favorite topic next.
Next, we'll have to talk about my favorite topic, sea turtles, and you're not going to get to talk, Katrina. I'm going to ask a million questions.
That's the area in the south that they have is all sea turtles, isn't it? Pretty much.
What about
the one down at Apollo Beach?
No, it's coral and sea turtle.
But I mean, that's all that's your favorite place, right?
Yeah, I don't need the aquarium itself. I like it for outreach and for educational purposes, but I only care about the facility down at Apollo Beach.
All right, we're going to tell you all about the sea turtles. I guess Roger and Leo are going to tell you about the sea turtles.
Good stuff.
When we come back here on Tampa Home Talk in just a minute, we'll also talk about some of the crazy marine life they have there and some of the different species. Stick around if you've got a question. Call or text 813-377-2775, 813-377-2775. Stick around. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. Leo Kane here with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. I'm joined with Katrina, who's celebrating a birthday today.
Well, Sunday. Not yet, almost. But I think it's my birthday weekend.
It's your birthday month.
You're missing the festivities, Roger, see?
And Roger from the Florida Aquarium. So now let's talk a little bit about sea turtles. I understand you guys recently re-released two little guys back into the wild. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, over the course of the last 6 months or so, we've got 6 sea turtles that have endangered green sea turtles that have gone back into the wild, and it's an important part of our role to save wildlife. I mean, that's our ultimate mission.
So I've heard, because of the whole shutdowns and everything, that the beaches were actually more lively, and we actually had a record season for nesting this year. Is there any accuracy for that, or is that just wishful thinking on my part?
Yeah, no, I think it depends on where you're at from that standpoint. But yes, I think wildlife really responded well, but sea turtles and other wildlife across the globe. Because of less activity, folks staying home, less maybe emissions, things like that. But when it came to sea turtles, it's exactly right. A lot of the folks who weren't visiting the beaches, or the beaches were closed, we saw definitely a rebound when it comes to sea turtles restoration and just they're thriving, and so that's great. So obviously that's a huge win for the environment. But one of the things we always like to try to say here is that we should be able to work in synergy with the environment, but yeah, no, they actually got a bump, which is good.
That's great to hear.
And that happened everywhere, like in places like Venice, and where they haven't seen marine life in the canals for years. During COVID, they actually were there.
Now, if we can only get the Caribbean monk seal to come back.
Yeah. So I got a question, and I'm sure probably you and Leo can both answer this, but the sea turtles, they always come up in the sand, right, to lay their young. Why do they do that when they're sea turtles and they primarily live in the water?
It's the best way for an egg to incubate, because remember when they lay eggs, and then they go in the sand. That's that warm incubation period. That happens there. When you think about think about a chicken to a certain extent, right? When it lays an egg, it sits on it and keeps it warm, and do whatever. Sea turtle doesn't have that ability, in the water, to do that. So they come up, lay their eggs, sand, everything else keeps them warm. They grow in the egg and eventually pop out and work their way back. Hopefully, into the ocean. So
in the winter months, do you see more sea turtles or less? Less? Leo's shaking his head.
Also, if you're talking locally, or depends on where you're at along those lines, because sea turtles, oftentimes will, they have their territories, but they, like many animals, they will follow food, and they will follow, kind of temperatures and currents. So one of the things, and just to kind of switch a little bit, but one of the things that we are entering right now is what's called cold stun season up on the Northeast. And so now here at the Florida Aquarium, what we'll get, and we just started getting some phone calls to see what our capacity is down at our facility in Apollo Beach. So now what we're getting is the folks up in Virginia, the folks even as far up as Boston are calling and saying, hey, sea turtles have been following the food source. They're up here, and oh, by the way, the weather is turning very quickly, and then when they get frostbite, they need help.
What food source? What are they following?
The jellyfish.
Yeah, they're following food source, jellyfish, jellies, and again, currents. So the current, sometimes that Gulf Stream is very warm, right? And they're up there, and all of a sudden it drops real quick, and they're going, hey, wait, I'm in New England. It's too cold. I got frostbite. Gets pulled out, hops on a plane, comes down to the Florida Aquarium. We can rehabilitate them and then put them back in the ocean, over by Canaveral or Cocoa Beach, get them back where they're at.
So what is involved in
pretty cool.
What is involved in a rehabilitation of a sea turtle? Let's say you got to.
Before you talk about that, like, how do you transport? Like, do you guys have your own plane, or
they
what?
FedEx.
How do you FedEx the turtle?
FedEx.
Really?
There's collaborations all across the country, and yes, it can range everything from if the FedEx and UPS folks want to be involved to private planes. Matter of fact, there's an organization called Turtle Supply where it's people who are individual pilots, and they just donate their time. And we actually moved a sea turtle a few months ago from the Florida Aquarium up to Brookfield Zoo in Chicago. And it was a woman out of Virginia who had a little single-engine prop plane, and took 8 hours to fly up there or whatever, but she did it on her own dime, and the turtle is safe and sound. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it really depends. It's a great community that wants to save wildlife, especially sea turtles.
Yeah, I just love the whole stewardship for the environment, the people coming together to donate what they can to help preserve the earth.
So you're talking about the rehabilitation. Do you mean specifically like after they get frostbite or something else?
No, just generally what, like I'm a turtle. I'm checked into my new hotel room for a while. What's going to happen to me?
Yeah, and the easy answer is it depends on what you came in for, just like a hospital, right? So I'd do it more like a hospital than a hotel room because everybody comes in with a problem. It's not like, hey, let's just kind of get out of the ocean for a while. So
yeah, they're not on vacation, Leo.
Obviously, everything that they get is, again, like a hospital, right? You get a checkup. Our vets come in, you get a checkup, you find out, what's wrong, and then we put together a whole wellness plan of how to care for you. So, for instance, if you are a cold stun, or I like to say easier, a frostbitten turtle, oftentimes what you need is you might need 30 days just to kind of get your, just get rid of the frostbite, warm up, and then head back out into the wild. If you come in with, a boat strike, that might mean something totally different, right? You might have surgery on your shell and figure out your buoyancy if you come in with a plastic. So it really, really depends on what the issue is. But everybody, like a hospital, you come in, get your paperwork, you get checked out by the vet, the doctors, or in this case, our animal care team, take care of you. And we put together a plan for the ultimate goal is every animal that comes through the Florida Aquarium facility is to go back into the wild. That's the ultimate goal. In some cases, an animal might not be able to because it wouldn't survive. And then, like what you see here at the Florida Aquarium, animals like Sheldon and Flip, who both have suffered from severe boat strikes and would not survive in the wild, get a chance for a second life.
So through the AZA, you guys have partnerships with other zoos and aquariums where they, I guess, a waiting list for turtles that unfortunately can't be released, or other animals?
Yeah, absolutely. So the sea turtle program here in Florida is very closely managed by Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, and they are amazing, and they work not only just with all the facilities here in Florida, but globally, to make sure that, sea turtles who are deemed non-releasable, do have a second chance at life. And so, there's this amazing coordination amongst, the federal government, state governments, and zoos, aquariums, and other, nonprofits that focus on those individual animals, in this case, sea turtles.
Speaking of, let's talk about another little-known area.
But before you go there, I have a frostbite question before we move too far along. When your turtles get frostbite, I know you said kind of warm them up and get them, back to normal. Do they lose limbs ever because they're frostbitten?
They can, yeah. It really is exactly what you would assume, which is why, even though we call it cold stunned, I will say here, right, it's frostbite. It's no different than, from a human standpoint. If you're at a severe level, you could lose a limb. And that may mean, again, you're non-releasable at that point.
That's what I was, before we got too far off, I wanted to ask that. I assumed, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so it's now...
They all experience animals experience a lot of the same things we do, maybe in a little different ways. But, it's which is why, again, I think it's more like a hospital, right? They get their doctors, they get their, surgeons, whatever they need, they get here at the Florida Aquarium.
So let's talk now about a little known secret area in the Florida Aquarium that's actually at the Channelside location. So you've just gotten a batch of new animals, but they have to go to a special quarantine zone, which is actually surprisingly a large piece of your footprint. Can you tell us a little bit about the process on what it just takes to introduce an animal into the aquarium itself?
Yeah, so we have we have what's called an institutional collection plan, and I'll just leave it at the highest level, meaning every animal that comes here to the Florida Aquarium is part of a plan. And so, because again, we take the responsibility of we're caring for life, and we care for life of that animal, no matter how long it lives. There are some animals, like some jellies, who might their entire life cycle might be 3 months. And there's others who, like our parrot, who might live for 50 years. So we have to take that into account. And so there are some behind-the-scenes areas where we have the ability to, when we bring an animal in, there's a certain quarantine process that is in place that you want to make sure, again, the animal gets its checkup, the vets clear it, it's safe, it's, disease-free, it's, doing well. And so it goes through a process, and depending on the animal, it could be anywhere from 30 to 90 days. Also, quarantine is one of those areas where that's our on-site hospital in many ways, too. If we find that there's, a couple that aren't getting along well and need to separate, or, an animal that just needs a little bit of a TLC, we can put them in what's called the quarantine area as well.
That's exactly...
I think it's probably more germane now, because we're all talking about quarantining in your own home. So think of it that way. It's not a scary place. It's just, it's just off exhibit where we can monitor it a little bit closer to ensure everyone is safe.
That's what I was thinking about, Roger, is do you ever have like personality conflicts with some of the animals where they don't get along, or they don't like a new animal being introduced to their current environment?
Yeah, look, you can. That's one of the great things about having, we've got 100 or so, animal care experts. They know the species. They know their exhibits. They work with the animals every day, just like a parent, and the characteristics of your of your kids, and so they're very, very in tune. And that's when I roll back to the institutional collection plan. If we know collectively that animal A, not just at aquarium, but just in general, never typically gets along with animal B, well, we're not going to go out and acquire animal A, right?
Well, I was like speaking more of like the same species.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, they are. There's a lot of animals live in social groups, and they have their social order from that particular standpoint.
Got it.
We monitor it very well. Again, zoos, aquariums across the board monitor it extremely well. Not just the Florida Aquarium, and we want to make sure that every animal is, provided the best care and welfare possible. And yeah, sometimes there might be a timeout, but for the most part, we don't see any real issues here along those lines. So
for the person listening, Roger, can we go over some of the different types of marine life and animals that you guys have there at the aquarium?
Sure. Well, we've got 9,000 animals here at the Florida Aquarium, and that's not counting every little coral polyp, which is an animal. And it ranges from everything from, penguins and spoonbills to Madagascar lemurs, down to sharks and rays and jellies. And in some cases, you get a chance to touch a stingray, touch a moon jelly, along those lines, meet a penguin up close.
What's the craziest, most fascinating animal you have there?
You know what? That's up to I know it's to be a political answer, but that's really...
But I mean, which one do you get the most wow by with your people that come through?
Is he going to have time to answer before the break? You do have a break.
Yeah, no, look, I think the biggest wow is the coral reef exhibit, just because it's so large and there's so many animals that are in there.
All right. Roger, we know you have to get to a meeting. We don't want to hold you up, but we are going to be giving away a family 4-pack to the Florida Aquarium with a dolphin cruise. Thank you for that, Roger.
Happy to do it, and hope to see one of the guests down here soon.
Absolutely. Stick around. We'll be back in just a minute for that off-air number. All right.
Well, good morning. We finally made it to that last segment where we lost the guests.
Well, we had to let him go. He had stuff to do.
Yes.
He's already been with us for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we had, let's see, a CEO billable hour time. We had quite a... We had thousands of dollars of his time.
Well, I'll tell you this.
He had to meet with the mayor.
Yeah. Yes.
He had to meet with the mayor.
He's giving away a family 4-pack with a dolphin cruise. So if you want that...
We do the 6th caller at 888-404-1010.
Why not do 10? We're Money Talk 1010.
Okay.
We'll do... how about text?
Text?
The 10th person
You
to
can't text 888-404-1010.
No. We're going to do our off-air number.
Oh, well, then now Pat's lines have just exploded. We've got to commit. We've got to commit at this point. We'll do
No,
the 10th caller.
no, we want the 813.
10th caller. It's too confusing now to the listeners.
Thanks, Leo, for doing that.
I'm sorry. Pat, you ready? 888-404-1010. We'll take the 10th caller. You will get a family 4-pack to the aquarium with a dolphin cruise.
Yes.
888-404-1010.
And next Monday is Veterans Day. And so if you show your military ID, you can get into the Florida Aquarium for free.
Oh, I did not know that. That is pretty awesome. So 888-404-1010. Keep Patrick busy for a couple of minutes while he collects some callers and information from us.
Can hear the phones ringing.
You can hear him ringing in the background. That's pretty neat.
So the 10th caller to 888-404-1010 is going to get a family 4-pack with a dolphin cruise.
The dolphin
from
cruise
the
is worth
Florida
it on its
Aquarium.
own. This is awesome. Family 4-pack.
Have you been on it?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about it. Have not been.
You get on a boat. You drive around the bay. It's pretty relaxing. You see
You usually
dolphins.
always see dolphins on the boat.
You should always see dolphins on a boat. I mean, it's relaxing. Anytime you get on a boat in the bay and the boat's not yours, it's relaxing. Anytime the boat is yours, you're worried about maintenance and all this upkeep and cost. But yeah, anytime you're on a boat that's not yours, it's golden.
Or there's always a boat club.
There is a boat club where you can rent a boat that's not yours.
That's why I tried to. Well, it's not renting, but you pay your membership and you just get the boat when you want it. You sign up for it.
Those are awesome. It's the boats you own that tend to be heartbreaking.
You know, I was a big fan of the boat club membership, but
I'm a big fan of the boat membership too. Like the Davis Island Yacht Club membership. Just get a boat, check it out. Works.
Hubs is the one that wants to own the boat. So
yeah. Well,
a lot more work.
He's good with plumbing and pipes and stuff like that.
All right, you want to talk to your winner?
Yeah,
we
definitely.
do. That was fast to get number 10. That didn't take long. Welcome. Who do we have?
Hello.
Maura Wood.
Hello. You said Maura?
Maura.
Thanks for listening, Maura. Have you been to the Florida Aquarium?
No, we have not. I moved down here in 2019.
That's exciting.
I want to go. Yeah, my cousin wanting to go. He's 27, so something we just haven't had the time to do.
Have you been out on a boat in the bay yet?
Not a boat. I mean, we were at the Clearwater Aquarium, so we've gone across to the other side.
Now, where did you move from, Maura? The $1 million question. Where did you come from?
Grove City, Ohio, which is right outside of Columbus.
Look at that.
Her name is Laura.
Laura.
Oh, Laura. I thought you said Maura. My bad.
I'm so excited that the winner is someone that has not been to the aquarium
Me
yet.
too. I was thinking the same thing. Well, Laura, thanks for listening to Tampa Home Talk. And you're definitely going to have to call back and let us know how your experience from the Florida Aquarium was. Let us know what your favorite exhibit is there. And we know you're going to have a blast on that dolphin cruise.
I can't wait.
Awesome. So Pat George is going to take down your information so we can make sure to get you connected with the Florida Aquarium to get your tickets. We can't wait to hear all about your experience.
Thank you so much. I just started listening to this station yesterday.
Great.
Timing
Well,
is
make
perfect.
sure you tune in and make sure you tell your friends because we give away stuff all the time on the air, don't we?
But nothing will ever be better than what she just won.
Oh, of course. Well, you're a big advocate for the Florida Aquarium, so there's never any place you could go better than the Florida Aquarium, unless it's like a private party to watch the sea turtles nest.
Screamageddon was a close second.
I say the aquarium at Columbus Zoo is very nice also, and I've been to the one at Brookfield.
So you're gonna have to let us know how they stack up because I think the Florida Aquarium is like in the top 10, right?
It's number one in my heart.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Well, thank you again, Loris. Thank you so much. Hang on the line, and Patrick.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Pat will get all your information so we can make sure that we get that over to the aquarium people so you'll get hooked up.
So I know. Why don't you talk about some of the things you do? Because you do a lot of stuff with the aquarium, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot at Beryl. We do a lot with the aquarium. I mean, we donate 2% of our profits to the aquarium, and we donate it specifically for sea turtle research, which has gained me access to knowledge that the normal public would not have.
When did your fascination start with sea turtles?
Years ago. I can't actually pinpoint it.
When
to
you
an
lived
exact-
here, somewhere else, like.
It was I can't really pinpoint an exact time. I want to say it was always part of me because I can't pinpoint an exact time where it started.
I tell you, if you've ever been at the beach and you've seen these sea turtles like hatch and then go into the water, it is so cute.
Yeah, and it's also a very scary time, too, because between the fiddler crabs and the seagulls and the occasional raccoon, I mean, those turtles are lucky to make it into the water. And it's nice that we actually have programs set up to monitor the nests, because with people around when the nests are hatching, it actually helps sometimes for these little guys to get into the water. But a lot of this time it happens at night.
Yeah.
That's why it's important that if you're living...
I thought it's pretty much always at night, mostly, isn't it?
Mostly, but I mean, you do have ones that aren't, but it's very important if you live on the beach, you get the turtle safe lights, the ones that are down focused, the ones that are under 2K on the brightness, that do an amber glow, just so when those turtles hatch, the big bright light they see is the moon, and that's how they know to go to the ocean, and that is really how they know. So if you have these bright lights on, you can mess with that. If you happen to be on a beach anytime between February and July, at night, don't use a flashlight. You have sea turtles that are starting to do their nesting. If you're going to use a light on the beach, it should be one of those red ones that doesn't actually impact the sea turtles or the wildlife. If you see a sea turtle, stay away from it. Don't touch it.
Definitely don't touch it.
Yeah, I've been to Melbourne before in May during the height of nesting season, and you literally can't walk on the beach without seeing tracks. And occasionally the turtles were like, one time we were doing a nesting program as a volunteer, and we were done. It was 3 a.m. trying to get back to our hotel room, and it took us another hour and a half to get back to our hotel room, because every time we made it like 30 feet, another sea turtle would come out of the water. And then you just have to stop and let it do its thing, because if you spook it, it goes back in the water, and then all those eggs could never actually make it into the sand.
Oh my gosh. I know it's cool. I've never spent in-depth time volunteering, I'm sure, like you, but it's a cool experience if you've ever seen it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different things you can do to volunteer. You can volunteer to rope off nests. You can volunteer to do counts. You can volunteer to watch hatchlings come out. There's lots you can do to volunteer, and not just with sea turtles, just to help out animals in general. Donate time, donate money, donate what you can.
Yeah, Florida Aquarium's a nonprofit, so
Yeah.
support them, go see them, buy tickets. And we're already out of time for this week, but look around. We're going to be back doing a live remote broadcast from the aquarium, and I'm sure we'll give away some more tickets. Love where you live and we'll fix it. Welcome home.
Happy birthday.